All right, welcome back to a special episode of Friday Night of Vintage. But before I get to the main event, I do have an undercard, so to speak, to show first. So I'll get this out of the way. It is a card that's been on my want list, and it's the Bob Gibson Rookie. Now, this is a 6.5, but this certainly would not look out of place in a PSA 8 holder. The centering is fantastic, and up on closer inspection, I think the 6.5 comes from, and the corners look sharp all around, but if you look really close, there's a little bit of a ding on that lower right corner, and ever so slight touches on the other three. And I think maybe the stricter PSA grading guidelines have, resulted in the 6.5, which is fine because I saved money over what would have been a 7 with the same centering. It'd be like $1,000 or more. This one ran me $775 with shipping. Now I know that's on the higher end or maybe above what a 6.5 would typically sell for, but it's the centering and just the overall appeal of the way this looks. I didn't care. I'll pay a little more for premier centering, and that's what I did here in this case. This was on my watch list during the holidays. It was sold. It was sold for $660, and then it reappeared. And I watched it run its course a few times, and I finally reached out to the seller, and we worked out a deal where he came down from his initial price of, I think it was like $900, and then it went to $850, and then he had a sale for $807, and I said, look, I'll go as high as $760 for it. And he said, well, how about $775? And I said, well, if that's shipped, let's do it. And so he sent me an offer sheet for that. So essentially it was $15 more, and I wasn't going to nickel and dime at that point. It was close enough that I paid a little extra, and I'm glad I did. So the Bob Gibson Rookie is certainly a key card from the 50s, and I'm super excited to have it in this grade because I saved a ton of money in the process. Sevens that are centered this well are pushing $1,000, and if PwC is listing it, probably more than $1,000. All right, so hold on. So, as many of you already know or have seen, I picked up the Mickey Mantle rookie card. Well, the Topps rookie card. Official rookie card is 51 Bowman. And this essentially concludes, and I look back, a little over a 10-year process of me trying to acquire all his, base cards for the most part. I mean, there's a few all-star cards that I'm lacking, and then beyond that, the combo cards, whether they're leaders cards or the Sluggers whatever card, or the Hank Aaron Mantle whatever, the Bowman Bauer Mantle Berra. But I have all his cards now, the base cards, and I kind of said to myself, how am I ever going to get this card? One of the biggest things from you is, authenticity, legitimacy. These cards are highly faked. And I was thinking, well, how am I going to buy it? Do I have to go broker it with a dealer? I mean, do I got to have like a checkbook with me? I mean, I certainly can't buy it on eBay because I just didn't really trust the whole system. And I always, was on the periphery of I had it in mind to buy a 1.5, 2, just because my personal standards were such that I'll never buy a 1. They always look like crap. I don't want any 1s in my collection. And I kind of held on to that whole idea for a while. And the search term 1952 Topps Mantle PSA has been something I do probably weekly to see what's out there on eBay, just for the fun of it. And, I kind of picked up steam a little bit when Blue Jacket 66 made that just outstanding video on how to spot fakes with this particular card. I mean, it's just, I watched it, I think, 3 times. So that got me a little bit more motivated, and I started to look a little bit more often, scrutinizing, seeing what's what. But again, this is the price points for, I just don't want to spend that kind of money. And, I thought about it, and, 1.5, 2, they're now in the $15,000 range. Okay, and maybe a year ago they were less than 10. And there's no slowing this card down. Okay, and I said, okay, well, I looked back at my year in review video, and that was all basically not all my card purchases, but most of my key card purchases for last calendar year, and added it all up, and actually that was about what I can get a 2 for, But then I'd have to not buy anything for the rest of the year, which would be really difficult for me to do. I looked at my comic books. I looked at some of my Star Wars prop replicas. I said, if I saw a few of these things, I got it. I can get there, no problem. But I just have a hard time letting things go. I've collected that stuff. I don't want to sell it. So I was like, whatever. Who knows? Anyway, Silver Jacobite made a video, and he picked one up. And it was a really nice looking card. It was like altered or authentic or something like that. And something in me clicked this, what, the hell with having to settle on a 2 and a 1? Let me just, maybe I'll live with a 1. I mean, I guess everything's off the table with regard to a 52 Topps Mantle at this point. It's probably the most iconic card in the industry, post-war baseball card. And, so I watched this video. It was great. So, all right, let me go look at eBay, see what's going on. So I go to eBay, and there's this card sitting there. Now, 2 things. One, I was really interested because it had the new holder, so definitely increases the likelihood it's not fake. But the real thing that sold me on it was being sold by the Baseball Card Exchange. And who is probably the most reputable dealer in the hobby? At least he's built up that reputation. And I thought, this has to happen. And I don't think I'll get another chance at that. Now, it is a 1. But it's not the kind of one that looks like it was driven over in a parking lot for the entire summer months. It doesn't look like it, had been farted on by a giant gorilla. Okay. Now it's off center. Now I'm a big stickler for centering, but again, I just, all bets are off when it comes to the 52 Topps Mantle. And this one has got the poor 1 and it's miscut. Now it's poor because there are creases and they don't go through to the back. They're only on the surface. There's like little surface creases that run top to bottom and left to right. So it's almost as if maybe this was in a rubber band stack. Corners are good, for all intents and purposes, and a little soft. And it's got the miscut. Now there's very little board. There's still white showing here on the left side. But instead of being OC, I guess it's got the MC. And I thought miscut was if, this had no border whatsoever and there was a part of another card showing. But that isn't the case with this. And it's very, very clean otherwise. I mean, look at the back. I mean, a lot of the 1s and the authentics that you see on eBay just look like, the paper was ripped off the back, or it just looks like it went through the washing machine. And anyway, so I said, okay. And I was able to work something out with the Baseball Card Exchange for this, and boy, I tell you, I feel like a huge sense of relief because if I go back, my very first video on YouTube under my Darth Fungus handle from 2008, or was it 2009? 2008. My first ever video was Baseball Cards Part 0, and I re-uploaded that to this channel under my archive series. And in that video, there is a 61 Topps MVP Mantle, which I had purchased not long before I made that video, and that was when I decided I was going to start collecting Mantle cards. And that was the first Mantle card I picked up. And so that's about when I started this whole process of acquiring Mickey Mantle, and here we are over 10 years later, and at the end. I suppose. I mean, I may pick away at the All-Star cards, but really the core of his baseball cards I've got done, and I just took a long time. Now, speaking of Mickey Mantle collection, there was a guy on here last summer, Silver Foo Cardboard, and he shows up and he drops the entire collection in one video he picked up over the course of 6 months to put things into perspective. And then he started making a couple of top 100 videos, counting down from 100 to whatever, and then he just sort of stopped. I hope the guy didn't just drop dead because I was interested in seeing the rest of what he had, and he has been on YouTube I think for 7 months or more. So whoever Silver Foo Cardboard is, I certainly appreciated the sentiment towards me and my Mickey Mantle collection. I hope he's doing okay. But yeah, there was a gaping hole in that for sure. I had all the cards. I bought a reprint, I think last summer, just to kind of placate, me for the time being. I was never happy with that. I don't like having a reprint. So essentially, that was a placeholder until I was able to get this card. And it really was prompted by 2 things. I mean, 3. The combination of me, always looking for the mantle or looking at Topps rookie mantles, Blue Jackets video, and then Silver Jacket Fives video, and just the confluence of events, and then this card just showing up and just speaking to me on eBay. And yeah, it's a poor one miscut. And this isn't even a PSA 0. This is if the qualifiers, I guess the logic is they take 2 away from the grade. Like a PSA 9 OC would be a PSA 7, right? So a poor one miscut isn't even it's a PSA -1. But whatever. It is what it is. And I'm just super excited to have it. And so I guess the big question is, what's next? I don't know. But yeah, that's that. So I just want to talk about, this card, the thought process behind it, and it happened really fast. And there's no looking back. Now, unfortunately, I won't be making Friday Night Vintage videos for the foreseeable future. I know Silver Jacket Fi commented that this is a big purchase for him, and he's got to save up too for the National and live vicariously through my channel. I got some bad news for you. I hope you like the Collectible Card Club, because that's all I have coming up. And it's only downhill from the last box I did from them, and I'm gonna do that for at least one more month. And then I guess I'll move into some comic book stuff a little bit, but no big pickups for me. This is it for a while, for obvious reasons. So anyhow, that's a wrap. Friday Night Vintage, special Mickey Mantle 52 Topps edition. And I appreciate all the comments and feedbacks. And I feel like I could rest now after 10 and a half years. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.